Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of Wgs-Tv. I am your official wrestling gamer, Double B, Billy Boudreaux, coming to you on this wonderful October 30th, 2010, episode 36, ladies and gentlemen, of Wgs-Tv. How's everybody doing today? We have Jackie, Joe Bandy Sensation, and Rev Jake Slayer in my live blog TV chat room right now. Again, as always, that's where our videos are filmed here on blogtv.com/people/AEW. Well, a new thing we're going to start doing here on WGS-TV, guys, is once every day, we're going to break upon some wrestling news and some video game news. And just so happens, we got a couple of things to break upon here on today's video, so let's go ahead and do it. First off, we're going to have some video game news. And this is courtesy of the Industry Games newsletter that gets emailed to me every day. Microsoft's Entertainment and Devices Division, EDD, responsible for the Xbox and PC Windows gaming, has posted revenue increases over the last year during the same quarter. While the entire division was up 27% to nearly $1.8 billion, the Xbox 360 business alone went up 33% over the same quarter in 2009. Total revenues were sitting around $1.2 billion, with Halo Reach generating over $350 million by itself. In total, the division was able to generate $382 million in profit from July to September. This represents a 46% increase over the last year. Sales figures were strengthened by the sales of 2.8 million Xbox units, about 38% higher sales than the equivalent period in 2009. The company is quite optimistic about the future. The Entertainment and Devices Division is expecting 30% year-over-year revenue growth in the current quarter, with the imminent release of the Kinetic and the Windows Phone 7 operating system coming out this quarter as well. Revenues for the fiscal year are expected to increase by 20%. In total, Microsoft posted record-breaking revenues of over $16 billion. The main driver in sales came from the company's Windows and Windows Live division. And guys, again, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm still fighting a cold, but I'm doing my best. Now, as far as wrestling news is concerned, events have been pretty dry, as the Shining Star Rick Star would normally say. But what I can give you, ladies and gentlemen, on today's edition of WGS-TV is an updated lineup for TNA's Turning Point. And what we have here is we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Jeff Hardy defending against Mr. Anderson. The TNA Tag Team Championship is on the line, as the Motor City Machine Guns will be taking on Team 3D in what has been reported as their last match. Now, EV 2.0 will be taking on Fortune, but with the stipulation being, in this match, ladies and gentlemen, the winning team gets to fire a member of the losing team. We also have a Knockouts match, which will be Mickie James versus Terror. And the last match I have to update you guys on is Jeff Jarrett taking on Samoa Joe. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, TNA Turning Point takes place on November 7th, which means that also on November 7th on blogtalkradio.com/WGS Radio, we're going to have a breakdown and prediction show of TNA Turning Point. Be sure you tune in for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're just now tuning into the video here on the live edition right here on blogtv.com/people/AWWB, again, just to reiterate very quickly, and a new thing we'll be doing here every day on WGS-TV is breaking upon some wrestling and some video game news, and that's just what we did today. Now, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have the podcast on blogtalkradio.com/WGS Radio, Gamer Talk. Again, it's going to be a 1-hour edition. Again, we're still building upon it until we can work it into a 2-hour show. Again, the 2-hour slot is reserved, like I said last week. It is still reserved basically as a safety net only, in case we go over the hour. So, be sure you tune in tonight, blogtalkradio.com, the WGS Radio. Again, I'm fighting a cold. I'm doing the best I can. Now, if you haven't heard yesterday's Groove Moose promo that we posted up, we're going to be playing their song, Believe It, again tonight on the podcast. So be sure you tune in for that, and also give me your comments. So Well, last night we had Friday Night SmackDown, and interesting show, to say the least. I kind of called the main event, I kind of saw it coming, and I hate it when that happens, When you see something coming a mile away on the show, you just hate to see that. You hate to see that. Goku 6425 says it was the best of the month. Yeah, but the thing is, when wrestling becomes predictable, it gets boring. It gets boring. Okay? And I kind of saw what they were doing just at the onset of the show. I called it. I knew it was going to be a triple threat match. I knew it was going to be Edge, Alberto Del Rio, and Rey Mysterio. I knew that was coming. And I hate it when I see that coming. Now, I will say this. Now, Goku 6425 says it was better than Raw. We can agree to disagree on that. I'll tell you that right now. Because there were some things on SmackDown that I did not like that Raw did better on. But then again, I'm going to save that more for the podcast than here on Wgs-Tv. But I will say this. I said it last night during the broadcast, and I'll say it again. If they would have put Rey Mysterio over Edge, over Alberto Del Rio, and made him the #1 contender, I would have been sick to my stomach. Because I'm so freaking sick of seeing him in the World Heavyweight title picture when he's not really a heavyweight. Okay? He's a fantastic performer. He's a fantastic competitor. He is a wonderful wrestler. He can cut great promos. He doesn't belong in the World Heavyweight division. Doesn't. Has no business being in there. Okay? So I'm very glad. No, Goku, he does not. Again, that's my opinion on it. Rey Mysterio has no business being in the World Heavyweight title picture. If there was a Cruiserweight title picture, then yes, he could be the champion. But as far as World Heavyweight title goes, because they're going to consider him the underdog, they're going to consider him the superhero like Cena, always being the underdog, all the odds stacked against him. Then we're going to see him overcome the odds again and again and again and again and again. And it makes me sick seeing that. It makes me sick seeing that. So I am glad that Edge got the #1 contendership. Now, as far as Alberto Del Rio is concerned, again, I said that last night on the broadcast when we were talking on Friday Night SmackDown. I don't think he was ready for a push. I don't think he was ready for that kind of a push to be put into a title match. Okay? Now, Goku, I know that you want to debate about this, but I'll tell you what, let's save it for Wednesday on Wrestle Talk, and if you want, we can debate about this whole situation involving Rey Mysterio. Okay? So, again, be sure you probably turn into that on Wednesday. And Mick37 came up with a new nickname for Alberto Del Rio. He called him Alberto Del Quifo. And I'm like, Mick37 thought up a good one there. That was hilarious. But we had quite a few people here. I think we averaged about 10 to 13 viewers here on Blog TV last night during Friday Night SmackDown, and then we did play Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Now we didn't get as many people as we normally do on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader. I think we at one point got up to 15 viewers, and then I did find that some of the questions were starting to repeat themselves. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I caught it because so what I'm going to try to do is if I have time to before later tonight, before we start getting ready to do a prediction show for the New Orleans Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to be doing that, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be compiling the stats so far this season of the New Orleans Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting all the stats together, announcing these stats here on WGS-TV, and basically coming up, I'll try to come up with my own predictions as to how the game will go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Goku's YouTube, which is youtube.com/Gohan6425, he has his complete weekend predictions for the NFL. So be sure you check him out and be sure you see what he has to say and see if you agree or disagree with some of his predictions. So, but again, my predictions will solely be on New Orleans Saints games. As you can see, I'm wearing a Saints jersey. So again, it'll be just predictions based on stats alone. Okay? And also tomorrow, after the game, I'll be posting up my own reactions video. And then, of course, tomorrow being Halloween and my Aunt Eteline's birthday, we're going to have a little Halloween soiree. A little Halloween fun tomorrow night. Okay, guys? Maybe like a little... I don't know how it'll go off. I don't know how we'll do it. But we're going to do it anyway. We're going to have a little Halloween party. A little Halloween soiree. Have a little Halloween fun. Because it's not very often yours truly has fun on Halloween. But with the broadcast here on WGS-TV and everything, I want to try to celebrate the holidays as much as I can. And with Halloween being a holiday, I want to try to have some fun with it. Because when I was a kid, I never really had fun with it too much. Never saw much reason to dress up and have fun. But I could get into it, especially here for you guys here on WGS-TV. I could get into it. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. But that's going to be tomorrow night. Okay, guys? Tomorrow night. But again, what we got going on later tonight is one, we're going to be doing... Again, we're going to be compiling the stats for the Steelers and the Saints. They're up-to-date season stats. And based on the stats alone, I'm going to try to come up with my thoughts and my predictions for tomorrow's game. And again, tomorrow after the game, my reactions video. Now, apparently, my reactions video from last week for the Saints versus Cleveland has netted over 300 viewers. And that's just absolutely amazing. I didn't realize that talking about the NFL that much, especially just talking about the Saints versus Cleveland and giving my honest opinion about how the Saints played, is just amazing. I didn't realize I would net that many views on YouTube just for talking about one game. One game. So maybe my opinion counts, maybe to some people. Okay? So again, be sure you tune in tonight, right here on blogtv.com/people/AEW. Again, we're going to be compiling the seasonal stats of the Steelers and the Saints. And yours truly will try to come up with my own thoughts and my predictions. And what we might do is we might get in some of the guys on the WGS Skype team, some of the members on the team on Skype, and maybe get their opinions and their thoughts on the Saints. Now, if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize if they're not taking on Pittsburgh. Goku, can you tell me for sure, is it the New Orleans Saints in Pittsburgh tomorrow? Because I don't want to go off on a limb and say the wrong team on here today's video. It is. Goku has confirmed that again, it's going to be the Saints and Pittsburgh tomorrow. So, again, what we're doing tonight is, again, compiling the seasonal stats of both the Saints and the Steelers. And, again, based on those numbers alone, try to come up with our own thoughts and our own predictions for that game tomorrow. And, again, what I'll try to do is not only just my thoughts, but the WGS team on Skype to get their thoughts as well. But if you have thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, if you have your own thoughts about what will happen with the Saints and Pittsburgh tomorrow, again, be sure you leave a comment wherever you see this video. Again, all the URLs for where you can see this video will be included in the description part of this video right there in the description box. Well, I do have a little bit of time. Again, it's blogtv.com/people/AEWBB, youtube.com/WrestleGamer. By the way, we're up to 111 subscribers. Facebook.com/TheWrestleGamerShow, and so on and so forth. And also the most important one, www.TheWrestleGamerShow.com. Well, that's going to conclude today's edition of WGS TV. Be sure you tune in each and every day, as we do a daily video every day for WGS TV. I'm your official WrestleGamer, Double B, Billy Boudreaux. Have a great day, everybody.